Am I the asshole for reporting my manager, Vince, for taking credit for a project that our team and I worked on together? So 35F, and here's what happened. Our company is currently undergoing a restructuring process, which means we're being forced to work on multiple projects simultaneously with minimal resources. One of these projects was a major marketing initiative that our team had been working on for months. The project involved developing new social media campaigns, creating engaging content, and collaborating with Zara from the creative department. After months of hard work, we finally submitted our project proposal and waited anxiously for feedback. However, when I arrived at the meeting to discuss the project, Vince announced that he had taken it upon himself to pivot the strategy without consulting any of us. He even mentioned that the initial concept was his own idea and ours was just a refinement. This statement made me extremely upset because we all knew our work went into creating that proposal. Vince continued to take credit for our project, stating that he would be receiving a significant bonus for its success, which is now estimated to be around $20,000. I felt betrayed because my team and I had invested so much of our time, energy, and expertise into the project. We were also promised a share of the bonus, but Vince claimed that we didn't contribute enough to warrant one. I confronted Vince about his actions, and he told me that I was being too sensitive and that it's just part of the corporate world. He also mentioned that reporting him would be unprofessional and might harm my career. Despite his dismissive attitude, I reported him to HR because I knew it was the right thing to do. Now, a week after reporting Vince, I've been frozen out of all company communications. Zara has stopped talking to me too, saying she doesn't want anything to do with someone who betrays her team members like that. It feels like I'm being punished for standing up for myself and my colleagues. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for assuming that my friend Ezra stopped reaching out and ended our friendship because of a pretty hefty amount of money he was in deep with his sister, who'd invested a significant portion of her life savings into one of his get-rich-quick schemes? So 38M, and here's what happened. Ezra and I had been friends since college, despite not really hanging out much over the years. We'd always keep in touch through social media, but when Camille got engaged, we started having more frequent video calls to celebrate. That's when things changed. Camille moved to a new city for her job, and our calls became less regular. I thought that was it, we were just busy with our lives. However, over the next few months, I noticed Ezra wasn't responding to my messages as much. At first, I didn't think twice about it, I figured he was just going through a busy period in his life. But when I saw Bianca post on her Instagram saying that she and Camille had been planning a girls' trip and asking if we wanted to join them in 2 months, my radar started twitching. She mentioned something about Ezra being MIA from the group's private chat, which made me feel uneasy. I sent Ezra a message asking how he was doing, but I didn't push him for details. Instead, I just asked if everything was okay. He responded that he was fine and would catch up soon. That was the last time we spoke on the phone. A few weeks later, Camille broke the news to me that our friendship had ended. She said Ezra had been flaky and unreliable, and I should have noticed it sooner. I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what went down with Ezra and Bianca's comments. I did some research on Ezra's business ventures, and sure enough, he'd got his sister into financial trouble with one of his dodgy investments. It all adds up now. If we had kept talking, maybe things wouldn't have ended like they did. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my close friend Umar that his partner Nova was not being entirely truthful about their financial situation? So I've been friends with Umar since college and we've always been pretty close. Lately, he's been bringing up how stressed he is about paying off some debt he accumulated during grad school. He told me he owed around $20,000 to a single loan and was worried about defaulting. I offered to help him brainstorm ways to pay it off, but then things got weird. Umar started telling me more about Nova's spending habits, which made me realize that the debt was way higher than he let on. It turned out he owed over $50,000 to a bunch of different lenders and was racking up new credit card balances by the month. I felt terrible for Umar, but also kinda annoyed that he wasn't being upfront about it with me and Nova. The final straw came when Umar asked me not to tell anyone about his financial struggles, including Nova. I told him that was unfair since we've been friends for years and I had a right to know what was going on. He got pretty defensive and said I was betraying his trust. I explained that I wasn't trying to hurt anyone, just help my friend out. Nova herself got involved in the conversation, saying Umar owed her $15,000 which he claimed was for helping her with a business venture. She basically accused me of being disloyal and telling gossip. I tried to explain that I'd only told Umar about his debt because I wanted to help him pay it off. After that conversation, things have been pretty awkward between us. Umar's stopped hanging out with us as much and Nova's barely spoken to me. I feel like I overstepped my bounds, but at the same time, I don't think I should be the one who keeps his financial secrets. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for selling a collection of rare vinyl records that my brother Cruz left at my place for 2 years without contacting me? So I'm still living with Tess, my girlfriend, and we've been together for about 3 years now. We share an apartment, but we're both pretty independent, so it's not like we're always on top of each other's stuff. Anyway, I have a friend named Bianca who lives across the hall from us, and she's super into vinyl records. She's always talking about them and asking me to pick up rare albums for her at thrift stores. About 2 years ago, Cruz came over one night with a bunch of old boxes and bags. He said he was moving out of the city and needed some space, so I let him leave his stuff here for a bit while he figured things out. Well, it turns out that a bit ended up being 2 whole years, because I never heard from Cruz again. Fast forward to last week when Bianca came over and started rummaging through the boxes in my living room. She pulled out this massive collection of rare vinyl records and told me she had been looking for them everywhere. It turns out that they were all worth a pretty penny, like, upwards of $2,000. I was shocked because I had no idea Cruz even had that many records, let alone where he got them. We started negotiating with Bianca about buying the records from her, but she wanted to sell them for way more than they're actually worth. She said something like, "You can't just take someone's property and sell it without their permission." I told her that Cruz had left them here and hadn't contacted me in years, so it wasn't like he was still looking out for his stuff. Long story short, Bianca sold the records to Tessa's sister, who is a big music collector, for $3,500. I'm pretty bummed about it because I was going to offer her half that much. Now I'm just wondering if Cruz even knows what happened to his vinyl collection and if he'll ever come after me for it. Am I the asshole?